Good day, EKN Nation. Welcome to a new edition of EKN Debrief. It's episode number 92. The date today, Tuesday, March the 1st, into the third month of the 2022 season. My name's Rob Haddon, joined as I will always here on our debriefs by David Cole in the Grand Rapids office. The event today that we're going to take a deep dive into, a full review of the Challenge of the Americas second weekend, Phoenix Kart Racing the Association, the facility, of course, in Glendale, Arizona. And again, that's the halfway point, essentially, of this year's challenge, rounds 3 and 4 going into the books. This week's show presented by CRG Nordam. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. CRG Nordam is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside Houston, Texas, CRG Nordam supports CRG dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. Check out the new CRG KT5 for tag and shifter racing, the Black Mirror for cadet competition, and the FS4 for Briggs. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. For more information on the CRG product line, head to www.kartcrg.com and to inquire about a North American dealer near you. Please email us at info@crg-nordam.com. Well, David, let's get underway here. A little pause there. Somebody was trying to call me.
I didn't know if it was the early morning hours after traveling all day yesterday.
I was up at 4:45 this morning. I'm rocking and rolling. It's just literally, I'm on my Mac. Somebody calls me. I have my phone shut off, but of course the notification comes in the side of my screen. So I lost focus.
That's why you should be a PC guy. You won't have that issue.
Hell no, not happening. Not happening.
So does that mean like I can distract you while driving with phone calls, like on the side of the road? Maybe we'll.
No, that's not going to happen. That won't work. All right, man. Listen, this is easy for me. I just brew myself a tea. I'm going to put my feet up. I literally don't have to do anything. I'll be quarterback this deal. You got to do the heavy lifting here today, bro. You were trackside by yourself out in Phoenix.
Well, as we know, we don't want to hear myself talk, so we'll make it quick and easy. But yeah, if you have questions or concerns or comments, be sure to bring those about. So I'll be happy to answer them for you.
You do fine, David. You do fine, my friend. So I'll do a little setup here. Again, as we said, the opening rounds of the third and fourth rounds, the second weekend of the Challenge of the Americas. The event, of course, being held this past weekend, February 25th, 26th, 27th. I was in St. Petersburg for the Road to Indy event. But the Phoenix Kart Racing Association, we talked about the fact in the Outlet Preview podcast, this track has been around for a long time. Really, one of the core facilities on the West Coast. Round 3 and 4 of the 6-round championship, as I said. And David, you can see it by the logo of this year's championship. 15th season of the Challenge of the Americas. This great program starting all the way back in 2008.
Yeah, and 5th year with the Rock Cup USA banner, began obviously as a Road Tax series back in 2008 and ran that way until 2017. And now we're in our 5th year with Rock Cup USA. And again, numbers continue to get bigger and increase. And, unfortunately, we're about 2 short than what we were in Tucson. But again, still solid numbers across the board when we look at the numbers.
Obviously, I followed you from St. Pete, watching the social media, watching all the top 10s to find out who was winning races. Obviously, very kind of into seeing who was going to be able to step up at Phoenix. But what I also saw was like literally picture perfect Phoenix weather. Chamber of Commerce for sure. Wow.
Well, I don't think that's normal weather for Phoenix because it was on the comfortable side. Yeah, it was certainly cooler. You could see your own breath Saturday morning when we got to the racetrack. So,
I like that.
But it was sunny, so it's exactly what you wanted. And what didn't get too warm toward at the end of the day. So again, really picture perfect weekend from Friday to Sunday. No weather issues whatsoever. And again, it wasn't hot enough to where you were searching, the coolness of a fan or air conditioning.
Well, as we do always to start off our Debrief podcast here. We do a little look at by the numbers, kind of give you a look at the numbers, what was there, what wasn't. David had mentioned just not quite with the numbers at Tucson. 129 was the total number and the end number for Tucson. Just 127 for Phoenix. We always like to see a little bit of a bump, and it's interesting to see that maybe why not. As you look kind of through the numbers, it's pretty easy to find out why not. Micro Rock gaining 1. They go to 5 drivers in Micro. Mini Rock David gaining 19, so 24 total cadet drivers. Same driver in Junior Rock. A couple of local drivers came out to run Senior. Masters dropped 1 from 9 to 8. 100cc Junior dropping from 28 to 25, but Senior 100cc, David, from 22 up to 26. And indeed, the 100cc Senior class was the biggest category of the weekend.
Yeah, it jumped over the Junior 100cc, which is the largest in Tucson. But again, only by 1, so 25 and 26 for the junior and seniors, respectively. Again, that's the popular category right now on the West Coast is 100cc racing. Easier for those mini drivers to make that jump up to junior in the 100cc category. So we're seeing a lot of that. And again, not too many drivers taking the opportunity to race 125cc, both in the junior and senior levels. But again, the drop on the weekend was the Rock Shifter Masters, which was at 17 in Tucson and dropped all the way down to just 10 for Phoenix. So, losing those 7 numbers that kept us from getting above that 130 mark in Phoenix, and not quite sure, again, people are kind of just picking and choosing races.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. We mentioned it in the outlap that the guys from Visalia Racing weren't going to be there. Jimmy McNeil, Nick George. There's obviously 7 guys didn't show up for that Masters category that would easily have jammed it over top of 130. And that more, I kind of thought about 135, 140. That was kind of my prediction, leaving Tucson, having had a really good launch of the season. But again, we'll see what happens when we get to the finale at Sonoma. Sonoma's a rock track, so ideally they'll be able to top that 140, 150 mark.
Yeah, well, I hope. Again, that's kind of been the battle, is getting local drivers. And again, we talk about there's a lot of competitors and a lot of karters in Northern California. They have a good, solid club with the Sonoma, Rock Sonoma program. It's just hard to get them to come out and race at the Challenge of the Americas. I'm not quite sure. I don't understand it. It's your home racetrack. Go out. You sleep in your own bed. You're not putting down a lot of money to go travel somewhere. So that that's kind of the worry moving forward is the numbers, because again, as we talked about before, some drivers are opting to. It's the last race of the series, so if you're not in the championship, drivers are going to opt out. Some other drivers are already opting out of the program because they're focusing on other programs for the summer, which will be the weekend after. So a lot, again, and it's something we'll talk a little bit more in the Paddock Pass. But that's the numbers. I hope we can keep at. That's my hope, is we keep around the 120 mark.
I've just never understood it because, in the years, my first 5 or 6 years of racing, when I raced aggressively, like 20, 25 times a year when I was, before I'd started Shifter Card Illustrated magazine, anytime a big race came to my track, I was racing it. Like that was like the biggest, it was the highlight of the year. When the guys came in, I got a chance to kind of gauge myself against the best drivers in the province of Ontario, because I ran regionally as well. So I loved it. I don't get, it just doesn't make any sense to me. When the Challenge of the Americas comes to Sonoma, I don't understand why every club racer wouldn't be out there to figure it out, to get a chance to run against the best drivers on the West Coast. It just makes zero sense to me, because if you're trying to get better, the only way to do it is run against people that are better than you. Simple.
Yeah, and they're open. The Rock Sonoma race is the weekend before, March 9th through the 20th, before the Challenge of Americas comes up. So, there's going to be a lot of challenge racers that are going to be at the club race alone to try and prepare for the finale. It's like you don't really have to change much. You have your setup, you go and you race. So
that's it. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, and there's no complaint. There's no excuse that you don't have track knowledge, right? It's not like you've never been there before. Oh, they tested there for years, or they tested there for so many days. No, the racetrack. Get out there and lay a smackdown on some of these big dogs. That's the key.
Yeah, be like a local, like Griffin Dollar, who's got tons of laps at the Phoenix Kart Racing Association. Comes down from Canada and spends the winters down there. He showed up Saturday morning and decided to race a senior 100cc class. No practice on Friday, and then was mid-pack all race long.
I always look at the World of Outlaws, right? The World of Outlaws sprint cars. They barnstorm around the country, 70 or whatever races a year, running, Tuesday, Wednesdays, whatever. Anytime they go to a track, I always love seeing the local track champion or whatever, right? Step in and try to make the A main, because he's running against the big dogs with that spend a lot of money. But you're the track champion. You do it. You get out there and you go against the big guys. So that's just my jam. I love that stuff.
And again, that's the crazy part about our sport. See there's a lot of money invested into a lot of setups and a lot of engine tuning and knowing the tires, knowing the shocks, knowing all that. Karting, you get out there and you just make laps. I mean, if you can't figure out a racetrack in 4 or 5 practice sessions, then you need an Alan Rudolph Racing Academy school.
I agree with that 100%. All right, folks, we're going to cut it to our quick first break here. When we get back, David, lots to talk about in the Paddock Pass. We'll jump into that before we go to the race report after this break. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer with IP karting that includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports provides in-depth driver development for those racers in Northern California and across the country. Arrive and drive services, kart preparation, and driver coaching are available under the LEM tent throughout the season. Bell's record of working with drivers includes recent victories at North America's biggest karting events, including the Rock the Rio and the SCUSA Super Nationals. Greg Bell's knowledge for building engines spans 2 decades and is now under the Mega Power branding, providing a reliable engine service and tuning knowledge. No matter the chassis brand, choose Mega Power to get to the front. Click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com for more and find them on social media to stay connected. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old.
History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside of Indianapolis, and they have provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers throughout their near 6 decades of business. Comet's online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. Comet Kart Sales attends dozens of karting events every year, offering trackside service for racers and families. Karting veterans Mark Dismore Jr. and Gary Lawson provide one-on-one driver coaching and tuning assistance for each trackside customer. The engine building business, Comet Racing Engines, has won countless major events and championships over decades of karting, and they continue to offer the best trackside service in the industry. Make sure you head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be a part of the Comet Kart Sales family today.
Welcome back to a new edition of the Debrief podcast as we take a deep dive into one of our EKN Trackside Live events. This kind of wraps things up for us. David, of course, was out at the Challenge of the Americas event at Phoenix this past weekend. So we'll work our way through the race report in a little while. First off, the Paddock Pass, though, all the stuff that happened away from the racetrack. And again, this edition of the Paddock Pass presented by Trinity Karting Group. Trinity Karting Group is your first step on the ladder to racing success. Based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, they literally have a track in their backyard and a controlled environment to develop your skills. Trinity Karting Group flattens out the steep learning curve with a professional staff that will put you on the right path. The focus is driver development, and they compete at the local, regional, and national levels, including the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and United States Pro Kart Series. They have new and used packages available, and they are your Midwest source for Kart Republic chassis and IAME engines. Visit them at teamtkg.com or call 513-421-4463. All right, David, jump into the Paddock Pass. I was honestly waiting for you to call me right when I was doing that. I figured I was going to see the notification.
No. I'll be.
That would have been solid. I would have respected that, actually.
Yeah, no. I what? That.
You're at a loss for words. I love that.
I am.
All right.
I told you it's early in the morning, man. I'm still waking up.
19. What are you talking
I
about?
know, but I got the kids. I get up early and I got to get the kids ready, and it's just a chaos.
All right. I get it. I get 100% get it. I have no kids, so there's no chaos
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, you roll out of bed and get on the laptop.
That's it. All right. So no, it's like I said, I was out going for a walk this morning at 5:00. Felt good. It was awesome.
Cold outside?
Yeah, it was chilly. It wasn't Florida. I guarantee you that. It was not Florida. All right. So listen, you were trackside, and obviously always a great atmosphere at the challenge. What did you pick up? What's the paddock pass? What was going on in the paddock? What was going on? Give me the overall on the weekend.
Well, the big thing was the racetrack itself. Received a new covering, new coating, new sealant on the surface, August 2021. So roughly 6 months ago. And so this is new. This was new to the challenge. We've seen the pavement there be the same pavement. I want to say it was 2012 was what I was told when the track was last repaved.
Okay.
So this was just a new sealant. It was different. It's not that grippy, rip your shoes off type of sealant.
Yep.
It's a pretty good sealant, and everybody was really comfortable with it. And it certainly had the grip level because the lap times were certainly quicker, anywhere between 0.7 and a full second quicker than 2021. So that was a unique aspect to the weekend because, again, everybody's learning how the track is going to change, how it reacts, and especially with the grippier tires that the club racers don't utilize, how they were able to transition, with the grip level.
Indeed. Wow. That's but the first thing my mind went to was I want to find out which sealant they used because, so many tracks around the country want to use a sealant. And if it wasn't a crazy amount of grip, it really provided some good racing. We need to get that information sent out to the other tracks too.
And then now to see how long that sealant will last, because
True.
We know Cal Speed, they also use a sealant as well. And you can see it kind of get away. You could see the racing line was browning up. So, it's kind of the grippier tires, I think, help pull it up a little bit. So we'll see how long this sealant lasts before it starts to deteriorate.
Yep.
Or, maybe the weather when it starts to get 120 degrees out there and starts melting it away.
True enough.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
True enough. What else you got going in the paddock pass?
Again, just kind of following, because, again, the Challenge in America is one of really the only programs, at least nationally, that has a 2-engine platform with 100cc racing. And we're still kind of following that up. Going from Tucson to Phoenix. We saw in Tucson, juniors are 100% with the VLR engine. So no KAs in that category, where senior and masters are kind of half and half. We saw 40% with the VLR in senior and then 55 in the masters category with the VLR engine. So those were kind of numbers we're looking at between those two categories, at least in Phoenix or in Tucson. We saw 3 of the wins by KA and then 1 win by VL. A little mix there. But again, overall in Phoenix, it was really competitive between the 2 engine platforms, the way that, 10 pound less for a VLR in both senior and masters. So it seemed like it's still kind of a good mix between those 2 engines. But again, you still have to have a good driver, still have to have a good kart. So it's not all engine. So, a little bit of, it kind of, you can't really judge everything by what you see because of all the different factors that go into, putting in a victory especially at a challenge event like this.
Dave, when we talk about the paddock pass, it's all kind of like what the atmosphere is about, what's going on, cool stories. Before you and I started here, I just asked you, as I always would, hey, I wasn't there. How, what was the overall feel? And one of the things you said to me was, man, it just seems like people are already maybe a little bit burnt out already. It's been a really intense start to the season, first 2 months.
Well, I think that kind of carries over from the end of 2021 because, again, Super Nationals was in December. So that doesn't allow for a lot of regrouping, refreshing, an off season. So that's kind of been a big factor. You see mostly with the race teams themselves and the mechanics who are, traveling nonstop, going back and forth. You got SCUSA Winter Series, you got Florida Winter Tour, then you got Challenge in the Americas, and now this coming weekend you got USPKS.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 4 weekends in a row for a handful of teams, but a lot of the mechanics and other people who are bouncing around, even a few staff members here and there. But it just seems that we're just packing in a lot of racing between January and March. And hopefully, as the schedule looks to be maybe possibly moving Super Nationals back to November, it'll help at the end of this year where everybody can kind of take a regroup month of December, refresh, and kind of rejuvenate themselves for what will be probably another busy 2023.
Well, it's interesting, David, and it's a good point, right? Normally, the Super Nationals is the week before Thanksgiving. This time, it was the week after Thanksgiving. So there's that 2 week. It's a 2 week run, right? In fact, no, it was 3 weeks after. I think it was because there was another weekend, I believe. So you're looking at a lot of time between the end of the season and that little gap that everybody kind of takes some time off over Thanksgiving or whatever it may be before we start up again in January. So no, I agree. Doesn't surprise me, and it's not the first time we've heard this. Like literally, I've been hearing this, to be honest, probably for about 6, 7, 8, 9 years, that the offseason's been crazy. That there's just so much racing going in. Everybody's doing the Winter Series. There's 3 different Winter Series. And then with USPKS starting in March itself as well. And that run at the end of February through March is just hectic.
It is. And, USPKS doesn't need to start in March. I think that's one of the factors. I think they want to because everybody's already down there in Florida, which I guess is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because it's just kind of putting more and more stress on the race teams and the kart shops and the engine. How the engine guys are just working nonstop. Every time we see Mark Dismore, he's just literally just for going from shop to racetrack, to racetrack. And so it kind of, it adds up, thankfully right now the sport's in a good position. So that's a good positive thing that we have a lot of these races, but again, it's just, everybody's trying to do it all. And I think it's eventually going to, catch up, something's going to give. I don't know what will be, but again, I'd like to see, but again, the schedule is kind of mixed up now with Pro Tour starting in April, not starting in March, and USPKS now in March and not starting in April, and just a lot going on. And, I think May is about the only month right now that we do have really nothing going on nationally. We have some regionals going on, but I think May is going to be a good kind of recharge month for not only competitors, but also for the race teams and everybody else involved with the sport.
Speaking of setting the reset button, we'll do exactly the same thing. Quick break in the action, folks. When we get back, it's time to jump into the race report. David will give us his full overview of Rock Shifter Masters, and then we'll just roll our way through all the categories that were part of this past weekend's Challenge of the Americas event. Stay with us. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. Is IndyCar your dream? If it is, for 2022 and beyond, the path from karting to IndyCar has gotten even clearer. It's time to look into the new USF Juniors program. As a stepping stone onto the road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, Anderson Promotions will debut a new series next season that will provide the ultimate opportunity for driver development for karting's career-minded racers. The new USF Junior Series will feature a 6-event, 16-race schedule to train racers for the move into the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship. The champion will win a scholarship worth over $200,000, and the total prize fund will exceed $325,000. Next year, the series will utilize the current HPD-powered Ligier JS chassis, and a brand new car with a Halo-type device will be introduced in 2023. If IndyCar is your goal, USF Juniors is the starting line. For more information, visit usfjuniors.com and follow USF Juniors on social media. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at www.franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We're constantly adding to the growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, Tillett seats, ceramic products, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, OTK products, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Welcome back to episode 92 of the EKN Debrief, as myself, Rob Howden, and David Cole diving into the third and fourth rounds of the Challenge of the Americas, which took place at the end of February out at Phoenix Kart Racing Association in Glendale. Jumping now into the race report, as we'll work our way through all the categories and let you know who was able to find success. This race report presented by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. If you want to improve your results, it's time for professional instruction and coaching at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Located at the state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park just north of Houston, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy offers custom coaching programs for newcomers and experienced racers alike. Train with a champion with over 30 years of racing experience to get proven results. Get ready for the big races by training with the best. Reserve your dates now by calling 866-607-7223. All right, David, jumping into the race report right now. We'll start with Rock Shifter, and here's your headline. GFC continues streak with Gulick and Pickett.
That's exactly what they did. It was a GFC show at the front of the field in Rock Shifter category. On Saturday, it was Hunter Pickett picking up the fast time in qualifying, but Gulick was able to pull out the whole shot in the pre-final along with the main event and essentially put himself on top of the podium with whole shot victory. Gulick just able to just drive away with a 2-second advantage in the main event to pick up his first career victory at Challenge in Americas.
Nicely done.
In this category. So Pickett was there in second, so giving GFC a 1-2 finish on Saturday. But really the show was Hannah Greenmeyer coming up from the back of the field. She started in the 19th position after a pre-final incident took her out on the opening lap. She was able to drive her way up into the top 5, and then on literally last lap, last corner, was able to make a great move on Micah Hendricks, kind of caught him off guard going into the last corner and able to steal that third spot to land on the podium for her first in the Rock Shifter category.
All right, good for her. That's all.
Yeah, so that moved Micah Hendricks to the 4th spot and Kwan Tandon in 5th.
And just to bring it in here as well, one of the things obviously kind of opens things up in the championship is Kyle Wick, who had dominated the action at Tucson to get a couple of race wins, not dominated, but won both main events at Tucson. Did not run in Phoenix, which opens the door for Pickett and Gulick to battle for the championship. And again, I'm sure both those drivers had that on their mind, David. Good for Greenmeyer, of course, to be able to come from the tail. And again, as you mentioned, Micah Hendricks in 4th. We mentioned that we figured Micah would be strong at his local track. And good to see Keon Tandon back into the action as well. Looks like Gulick kind of picked up where he left off on Sunday morning.
Exactly that. Gulick was the driver to beat Sunday, setting fast time and earning the pre-final win. The whole shot, again, that just kind of decided the race both days. And on Saturday or Sunday, it was actually Pickett that was able to get off the line a little bit better than Gulick. Talked to him after the race, and he said they actually they changed a couple of discs in the clutch and didn't get the good enough practice start to really get off the line when the race went green. So unfortunately, that was the winning move for Pickett, as the two were pretty evenly matched. And again, shifter category, for some reason, a little bit harder to pass at the Phoenix Kart Racing Association. So Pickett was able to go on and lead all 20 laps for his first victory of the 2022 season ahead of Gulick. Kyriakis Soukis was able to hold off a pack of drivers behind him to finish 3rd. So his first podium in the shifter category. He was able to hold off Ron White, veteran Ron White, and Hannah Greenmeyer in the 5th position.
Nice, solid stuff. Fast time was a 44.519 for Gulick, ends up finishing second. But David, all in all, I'm sure when we sit down and look at the points, that's a really solid weekend for Gulick to try to fight himself back up into Pickett, right? Top points in the pre-final and the main on Saturday, gets the qualifying bonus and the pre-final and the fast time bonus plus P2 in points. This is going to be a good battle for the championship when we head to Sonoma.
Yeah, essentially Gulick scored the most points on the weekend in the category, so he will be one of the front runners for the championship going into Sonoma.
Speaking of a good championship fight, let's move to Rock Shifter Masters, and here's your headline: Quiella and Woods resume title fight with wins.
Exactly that. Saturday, back at his home racetrack, more comfortable than I think he was in Tucson. Quiella was able to earn a sweep on Saturday, put in a pretty dominant performance, earning fast time in qualifying and winning the pre-final. Really, the final was decided in turn number 3. A little bit of contact between Kevin Woods and Bud Grossenbacher essentially gave Quiella a large lead as they both went off track and out of the race in turn number 3 on the opening lap. So that allowed Quiella to drive away to a 12-second advantage ahead of Nick Firestone and Alan Morte, who was able to score his first podium in the Rock Shifter Masters category.
Go back to the preview. What did I say about Alan Morte? I knew he'd be in the fight. I was right. Douglas Brandt and Brad Weiss rounding up the top 5. But David, I think let's talk about the ramifications of the incident with Woods and Grossenbacher in the main event on Saturday. That's his second DNF, if I'm not correct.
For Woods, yes, second DNF. So certainly was not a pleasant Saturday evening in the Ron White Racing tent.
And well, again, as champions do, you dig in, you get your mental focus back. He came out of the gate pretty strongly. I see that Quiella was able to get the qualifying pole, but Woods came back strong in the pre-final.
It was whole shot. Yeah, that's essentially what it. Again, shifter carts. It's all about the whole shot, and Quiella wasn't quite able to get off the line as solid as he was on Saturday in the pre-final. So Woods was able to jump ahead and score the pre-final victory, and then again in the main event, Quiella actually fell back to 5th by the opening corner, just not able to launch as solidly as he did on Saturday. So that essentially gave Woods the lead from the get-go, and while Woods was out front, his pace just wasn't quite there, and so that allowed Quiella, along with Alan Morte, who's right on Cliff's bumper, was able to run him down, but essentially kind of ran out of laps once they got to Kevin Woods, as Woods was able to lead all 20 laps for his first victory of 2022. A
couple of CRGs in the podium as well, Dave.
Yeah, Woods with the CRG on the top step, and then Morte picking up a second podium for himself.
Firestone ends up finishing in the 4th spot, so a couple of top 5s for Nick. Bud Grossenbacher coming back after the contact with Woods on Saturday to finish up in the 5th spot, driving the Zanardi. Fast time, though, went to Jonathan Vitolo. We saw him being pretty impressive in Tucson, 45.141, but a little pushback. Was the issue for him or just on track?
No, on track contact penalty. I believe it was with Bud Grossenbacher. So
okay.
Actually, Vitola finished 4th on the racetrack, but was penalized and dropped down to the 6th position.
There you have it. Championship battles heating up in both Rock Shifter and Rock Shifter Masters. Looking forward to the finale in Sonoma to see who comes away with the championships. We'll head to another break. When we get back, jump back into the race report presented by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. We'll go 100cc, senior 100cc, and junior 100cc up next. 2019 marked a new era for the Cartlift brand. The company that Tim Coyan owned and operated since 2003, one with a long tradition of quality products for the karting industry, was purchased by Ted Fashing and his business, Stockholm Karting Center, in October of 2019. Stockholm Karting Center Inc. has added the Cartlift brand to their very successful Triple T Race Products brand that has been fabricating parts for the drag racing industry for the past 25 years. We're small enough where the owner answers the phone and every call is important to us, but we're large enough to get the job done. We pride ourselves on the quality and personal customer service that we provide on the phone or at the track. Cart lift stands, as you know, can be found at racetracks all over the country. If you race alone, or if you're a parent with a cadet or junior driver, let our one-man winch lift make your race days easier. Position the hooks under the rear bumper, push the button, and your cart is raised into position and you're ready to go. We have traditional cart stands, single upright storage stands, cart lift stackers for storing 2 carts at once, tire changers, and skid plate kits. Cart lift stands are available at the finest cart shops around the country, or you can order online at cartlift.com. For more information, give us a call at 877-777-8020. That's 877-777-8020. Get a cart lift and leave your crew at home. Technology, design, and manufacturing. These components make Kart Republic a world champion. The Kart Republic chassis has earned 2 FIA World Karting Championships. Here in the U.S., the brand has earned multiple victories and championships in senior, junior, and cadet competition. Kartsport North America is the country's importer and distributor for Dino Chiesa's Kart Republic chassis, and as a leader in American karting, they are focused on providing stability for the sport and quality products and service for the community. Whether you'd like to find out about the Kart Republic dealer closer to you or schedule an arrive and drive package with an official North American race team, contact Kartsport North America through their official website, www.kartsportna.com. We are Republic. We are one. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network and a new edition of the EKN Debrief, our race report podcast that caps off our EKN Trackside Live coverage. Senior 100cc, let's jump into that right now, the race report. And here's the headline: Hodgson steals in double win weekend.
Exactly that. You know, the British driver who is now living in Phoenix has a new home track, and that's the PKRA facility. And he certainly was able to defend that on the weekend. Opening up Saturday with a perfect sweep. Had a bit of a challenge from Jacob Drew, our double winner in Tucson, but Hodgson proved to be a little bit stronger in the main event and lead the majority of the race laps to score a victory by 0.7 seconds. It was actually his second victory in the United States. If you recall, and you called this back in 2013, Oliver was able to win the Senior Max Championship at the Rotax Grand Finals in NOLA Motorsports Park.
Wow. All right. Bring that one back. Good for you, Dave. That's awesome. Jake Drew, as Dave said, finishing second on Saturday. Kyriakos Soukas doing the double duty again, 100cc senior and shifter, so he ends up P3. Liam Lech in the 4th spot, and Cole Schroeder continuing his pace for the up front in P5. Drew was the fast driver, 47.451. And these fast laps that he got in both Saturday and Sunday going to play into him being, I think, in a really good place to win this championship when we get to Sonoma.
Yeah, because you look at it, Hodgson was not in Tucson, so essentially Drew was P1 in the championship chase on Saturday, and kind of the same thing on Sunday. Oliver just kind of had a little bit more in qualifying in the pre-final, but the main event was an absolute awesome race between those two drivers. Lap number 2, Jacob Drew was already going in defense mode on Oliver Hodgson. It was a great game of chess between the two drivers. Kind of just going back and forth, and Hodgson on the comp cart, Drew on the GFC. The two were just, it looked like they had, the same speed, but they were almost like 2 or 3 tenths quicker than everybody else. So even though they were going back and forth lap after lap, defensive move here, it was just, the two certainly had the pace to be above the rest of the field. So
nice.
In the end, though, Hodgson was able to secure the lead by the last lap and was able to hold off Drew and reach the checkered flag first for his second victory on the weekend.
So they only changed it up, but all the same drivers in the top 5. This time Soukas, this time Soukas was still P3. He was on the podium again. It was Schroeder jumping over Liam Lech for 4th. So Schroeder 4th, Lech 5th, same drivers in the top 5. And again, in the end, they have a full sweep of the action. for Hodgson, right, on the on-track checker flags. Drew got both fast laps each day to get some points, but Hodgson really, I guess he was the first to the flag in all 6 sessions.
Exactly. And
Nice.
for Sukas, a third place finish on the weekend, picking up 2 in senior 100cc and another in rock shifter. So a really solid weekend for him.
Obviously, you got Jake Drew now really in the position. He only needs one more really solid day to get the championship. And in fact, with what you said, like 2 seconds and 2 wins, pretty much locked up right now for Jake Drew, but he'll head to Sonoma to cap things off there. Let's head to the 100cc junior category. And here's the headline: Vasquez and Cameron add to winners list for 2022.
This is the only category we have 4 different winners over the 4 different rounds that we've had. So again, junior 100cc providing that diversity when it comes to victories once again, because if I recall correctly, in 2021, we had 6 different winners at 6 different rounds. So hopefully we'll kind of continue that trend when we get into Sonoma. But first, in Phoenix, it was Jesus Vasquez Jr. that was the top driver on Saturday. Christian Cameron was able to set fast time in qualifying, but Vasquez came out with the pre-final win and led 19 of the 20 laps for a strong victory in the main event, driving away to nearly a 3-second advantage. Steven Eisert was in the second spot ahead of Cameron, with local driver or Phoenix driver Cooper Auclair in 4th, and Alexander Gonzalez our round 1 winner in the 5th position.
What happened to round 2 winner Preston Lambert, David? I see that he's got the fast lap of 47.234. Where did he end up on the day?
I'm not sure. Let me double check the results here. I think something happened in the pre-main to kind of put him at the 8 ball, but he ended up finishing 12th with fast lap of the race. Again, that's the one thing about this junior 100cc category. You got probably 15 drivers that were all within 0.2 of each other.
Wow.
On the fast lap. So that's pretty solid.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all amazing. 47 3s, 47 2s, 47 4s, all in the top 15.
Man, okay. That's some serious stuff right there. Sunday, Cameron comes out of the gate, his second consecutive pole position on the weekend. Cooper Auclair, though, David, stepping up to win the pre-final. What happened in that deal? Give me the deets.
It was actually Vasquez that was in position to take the win until Steven Eisert came through. A little bit of contact through what I believe was the turn 8 hairpin leading onto the long straightaway. Mm-hmm. So Eisert was actually the driver to cross the line first, but given a penalty. So that dropped him down to 14th, with Vasquez finishing in the 10th position, putting Cooper Auclair on the pole position for the main event. That set up for a 4-driver battle in the main event that included Auclair, Cameron, along with Preston Lambert and Tristan Young. Really, the only 2 drivers that led were Auclair and Cameron. They kind of went back and forth here and there, with both Lambert and Young kind of just waiting, looking for the right opportunity to come through. Nothing really ever did for those 2 drivers, as it was Cameron that was able to make a last lap move over Auclair to secure the victory. Preston Lambert was able to come through with the 2nd spot, so that dropped Auclair down to 3rd on the podium, with Tristan Young sitting right there in 4th. And then AC Chartier was the 5th position.
Steven Eisert with the fast lap of the race of 47.209. This championship will be very exciting as well. As David said, 4 different winners in 4 races for junior 100cc. We'll see if we can match what happened last year and go 6 for 6 once we get to Sonoma. But otherwise, this junior 100cc category has been a ton of fun to watch. Stay with us, folks. When we get back, it'll be Masters 100cc and Masters Rock. And then we'll do a quick little junior rock and senior rock update as well. Rolling our way through this edition of the EKN Debrief. Made in the USA. That's exactly what you get from Precision Karting Technologies. Based in Detroit, Michigan, PKT brings over 35 years of manufacturing experience to the sport of karting. Their passion for the sport began focusing around the Kid Kart platform, and has expanded every year with hundreds of products designed to put you on the podium. Precision Karting Technologies is known around North America for their successful line of axles, available in all age groups. PKT manufactures a number of engine products for Comer, IAME, Rock, Rotax, and the popular Briggs & Stratton 206. A wide variety of chassis components for the many brands in the sport are available through PKT, including hubs, pedal risers, skid plates, and other hardware for your kart. Axle straightening, chassis adjustments, engine service, and specific CNC machining projects are available through their Motor City headquarters. To learn more about the many products and services available from Precision Karting Technologies, head to pktaxles.com. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Spec Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. And the all-new IgniteKarting.com website provides you with the information you need to fuel your passion for kart racing. Ignite Karting is a spec kart that features the Margay racing chassis with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and a Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the junior, senior, and masters classes utilize the same Ignite K3 kart, which puts all the emphasis squarely on the driver. You can race the Ignite package from Margay at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for 2021 include the Ignite Majors, featuring events at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Quincy Grand Prix, and Newcastle Motorsports Park. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regional-based Ignite Challenge Series at tracks in Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois. Local club programs have been established in Idaho, Texas, Nebraska, New York, Ohio, and Florida. All the information that you're looking for on events throughout the country and on all the Ignite kart packages, including dealers in your area, is available at IgniteKarting.com. Get off the couch and on the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. Welcome back to our Race Report podcast here on the EKN Radio Network of the Challenge of the Americas event in Phoenix, Arizona. Rounds 3 and 4 of the challenge. And we are working our way through the Race Report, which is brought to you by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. 100cc Masters, David. Here's your headline. Kunchas extended streak to 4 with 0 to hero runs. Oh, I like that. I want to hear what happened. Let's go.
Well, that's just exactly it. When you start last or get dropped down to last in the main event on the opening laps and drive your way to the front and take the victories, you go from 0 to hero. And that's exactly what Ian Kunches did. It was a great battle all weekend long in this category. Again, a number of different drivers in the hunt all weekend long. Brett Harrelson setting fast time and qualifying, with David Pagande winning the pre-final. It was in the pre-final that Kunches was sitting there in the lead pack. I want to say he was third behind either Newberry or Mike Weatherman, where they came out of the hairpin turn 8 and he dropped a wheel and it spun him around. And I can tell you, I've done that multiple times. It's pretty easy to do.
All right.
And so that put him at the tail of the 10 driver field. And essentially, again, starting shotgun on the field, had the opportunity to kind of get through some of the drivers early in the opening lap and put himself right into the lead group. And that's something about this lead group. A lot of racing, a lot of passing, nobody sitting still and keeping in line during this main event. So really, it was just kind of watching Ian Kunches go up through the field and eventually was able to go up to the lead and then score the victory for his third straight on the year.
It sounds like an old-fashioned cadet race when the guys won't line up and pull away and they just let everybody else close up on them.
That's exactly, these, again, different engines too. So you got the VLR and the KA, lots, some better on the straightaways, some better coming out of the corners.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the fun part of this category. And then these old guys, they just don't want to stay in line.
I love it. So Kunches makes it happen again. Newberry second, Harrelson third, David Pagande and Mike Weatherman, David rounding up the top 5.
Yeah, again, Newberry picking up his first podium, so it's great to see that. And Harrelson, it looked like he was the quickest driver. It just didn't work out for him. Pagande led a little bit too as well, and just wasn't his opportunity. It looked like he was kind of a little bit more timid, but that changed on Sunday.
Now, I also saw on social media Mike Weatherman said he was actually third, crossed the line third, but had a pushback bumper.
Yeah, so he crossed the line in third. And again, it was great racing. This is one of those instances where, he got his bumper hooked on another bumper and it pushed it back. It wasn't like it was contact that was deemed a penalty. But again, when you get the pushback bumper to be pushed, it's unfortunate that he lost the podium position because of that.
Kuncha's not able to complete that speed that he had in the fast time in the main, as it was Preston Newberry, David, who actually put the car on the pole on Sunday morning.
Yeah, Newberry came out looking pretty quick. But again, Kunches was able to score the pre-final win. Things got going right away. As you know, when we start races at the Phoenix Kart Racing Association, we actually use the long back straightaway heading into turn number 10, Daytona is what they call it, as the opening corner, which sets up into a left-hand hairpin turn 11. A little bit of contact with drivers trying to get ahead of Ian Kunches quickly. I want to say it was either Newberry or Weatherman, but all three of them were involved in contact through that turn 11. So that kind of opened up the door for Pregande to come through and take the lead. That contact, though, however, dropped Kunches to the tail of the field once again.
No.
So really, it was watching him get up and get back up into the lead group quickly, as he did on Saturday. So essentially did the same thing on Sunday, because again, drivers won't stay in line. We have a lot of racy drivers up there looking to kind of take the lead. Pregande led a majority of the race, but then they kind of got shuffled up. But Pregande did make some good moves to get back up into lead with some solid passes in turn 3. So something that we didn't see on Saturday, he stepped up his game on Sunday. Unfortunately, Kunches was just a little bit better than everybody else and was able to climb back up into the lead. Actually fell back to 6th once he got up to 2nd at one point, but then climbed his way back up into the lead and was able to score the victory once again.
Another win for Kunches in Forward Direction Motorsports. He's got 4 wins, so obviously looking for a lock on the championship when we get to Sonoma. David, let's look at Masters Rock. Speaking of lock on the championship, here it is. The headline, streak continues for 3-time defending champion.
Derek Wang is just putting a beat down on the Masters Rock division. The 3-time defending champion was able to pull off another weekend sweep, earning it wasn't perfect score, but earning a sweep both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday was a bit of a race. He was challenged a majority of the day by Christopher Mann. Unfortunately, Mann got a bad start in the main event, was able to close back up, but wasn't close enough to try and make a move on the defending champion. So Derek Wang was able to pick up his 3rd victory of the season by just 0.4 of a second over Christopher Mann aboard the Cosmic. Billy Cleveland ended up finishing in the 3rd position. David Pregande in 4th, and then Mike Giles in the 5th position.
And you said Mann with the fast lap of the race of 46.677, breaking that complete sweep for Wang. But Derek would come back again, David, on Sunday, qualifies on pole, wins the pre-final, and runs away to a 3.3-second win.
Yeah, broke up the perfect score on Saturday. He had the sweep, just not the perfect score. But Wang was able to do the perfect score on Sunday with maximum points on the day. I don't know if he just found a little bit more speed or what, but I mean, he was 0.3 quicker in the main event on Sunday than Mann was on Saturday. So just a little bit more than everybody else had, and was able to pull away to a 3.3-second lead by the end of the 20-lap race.
Mann ends up in 2nd. Billy Cleveland comes home 3rd. Ed Quinn working his way up into the top 5 for the first time on the weekend. Quinn finishes 4th, and Samuel Porter on the TV cart rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, it was an up and down weekend for Quinn. Okay. He actually had the pace to be on the podiums, and on Saturday was actually quicker than Billy Cleveland. Unfortunately, he had a clutch literally blow up on Saturday, which ended his race that day. So just didn't quite have the speed. It looked like, Wang, Mann, and Cleveland kind of picked up the pace, and Quinn wasn't able to keep up, but still a solid 4th place for him in his 2022 debut.
David, in all of our previews and everything we've talked about through Tucson, and now we've gone into the fact that the 100cc tag categories just aren't being super supported on the West Coast. Of course, same goes here for the Challenge and the Rock Junior and Rock Senior categories. One driver in Rock Junior who was at Tucson as well. 2 of the local drivers coming out to run in Senior here this particular weekend. I'll give you the headline. You kind of wrap it up for us. Young and Bowers double in Phoenix.
Yeah, Tristan Young was the lone junior Rock driver. So very, as you said, similar to Tucson, was out there Didn't race the pre-final, but came out and made some laps in the main event to secure again the top position in that category. In Senior Rock, we had two drivers that were local to the PKRA facility. Carson Bowers and Jonathan Newdorf were the two drivers in that category. It was Bowers that picked up the sweep on the weekend, winning Saturday by 8.6 seconds, and then again on Sunday by 9 seconds over Newdorf.
So that wraps up that particular segment, folks. When we get back, let's cap off the race report with a look at Mini Rock and Micro Rock. Stay tuned. More to come.
Wins in the sport's biggest races and championships in national and regional series all over the country, they're all on Nitro Kart's growing resume. Nitro Kart continues to make its statement as the best, fastest, and winningest cadet chassis on the American market. In 2021, Nitro Kart won the three biggest crowns in America in the Micro Swift division, with Mateo Rosu in the SCUSA Pro Tour and both the Super Nationals and the USPKS titles with Keelan Harvick. At the Super Nats alone, 3 of the top 5 drivers on the podium got there on a Nitro Kart. The results are clear. If you want to win in cadet, get a Nitro Kart and join our team. At Nitro Kart, we're all about driver development. Nick Tucker and the Nitro Crew's racing resumes are extensive, and their passion for helping our kids learn is unparalleled. Racing is about consistent learning, and that's what we're all about here at Nitro Kart. Never wanting to quit, we've continued to extend the reach of our driver development program. In addition to expanding into the junior and senior karting categories, we've also launched Nitro Motorsports, which will field 2 cars this season in the Trans Am by Pirelli series, one being piloted by karting champion Brent Cruz. Not only can we develop your young driver, but we can also provide the platform if a move to cars is in your plan. And our second seat is available. If you're serious about your driver's career, contact us today.
It all started in 1994 when former successful kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Fast forward 20 years, and Parolin's passion for the sport led to the company rejoining international competitions as a factory team in WSK and CIK FIA races, with the aim of enhancing the research and development process, immediately achieving notable results around Europe, North America, and Asia, becoming the CIK FIA Asia Pacific KZ champion in the same year. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all of the major Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior classes, and the 28mm mini kart for the cadet classes. Parolin has been winning races all over the world, and it's on top of the podium in the USA as well, with drivers like Kai Sorensen, Mateus Orjuela, and Alessandro De Tullio. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com. Welcome back to this episode of the EKN Debrief, the Challenge of the Americas Race Report podcast. Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, the sponsor of our race report. David Cole giving us his full report, having been trackside in Phoenix throughout the weekend, February 25th, 26th, 27th. A total of, I would say, 27 drivers, I think, in the cadet categories on track together, racing together, scored separately. Let's talk about Mini Rock, David. Here's the headline. Woon and Korn win again.
Exactly that. What we saw in Tucson, we essentially saw in Phoenix, except opposite days than what we saw in Tucson. So on Saturday, it was Ashton Moon picking up the victory. It looked to be it was going to be Gage Korn. We saw him win Saturday in Tucson and set the pace early throughout the Phoenix weekend. But it was a great battle for the main event. It included Ashton Moon, Gage Korn, and Kyle Drysdale. Kyle Drysdale was actually coming up from, I want to say, the 7th position to put himself in position to try and battle for the victory. But Woon ended up being just in the right place at the right time and was able to take away the win on the last lap and score his second victory on the year, winning by 0.7 of a second over Kyle Drysdale. Korn ended up finishing in the 3rd spot. Nico Serfati was able to finish 4th, his best finish on the year thus far, ahead of Matteo Quinto.
Quinto, of course, I think was a point leader coming out of Tucson in the mini rock category, so he's right in the fight. You mentioned that Woon had the fast lap of the race. What about Sunday, David? I see that the Gage Corn qualifies on pole and wins the pre-final, but got a couple of asterisks beside his name here for the race win.
Because the margin of victory wasn't the what we see there, so that's kind of why I put that in the script. But the day belonged to Gage Corn, essentially going wire to wire the entire day. Woon had the pace to kind of be there, but was unable to really kind of put on a challenge. So Woon ended up crossing the line second behind Gage Corn, but Woon was disqualified for width. So that essentially is taking Ashton Woon now out of the championship with disqualification, despite his 2 victories. So
technical DQ, yeah.
Yeah. So that the margin of victory was increased to 7 seconds as Killian Harris was able to outgun Kyle Drysdale for the second position, but put 2 ruthless karting drivers on the podium alongside Gage Corn. Quinto with another top 5 finish, finishing in the 4th position with Braylon Underwood in the 5th spot.
Solid day for Gage Corn. Got the fast lap of the race as well. Well done there. Really, David, all told, the only race he didn't win at the line was the final on Saturday, right? He was qualified pole, won both pre-finals, won the main event on Sunday. Pretty solid weekend. Yeah,
certainly it's going to help put him in the championship hunt. Obviously, he had that DNF in Tucson on Sunday, so 3 podium finishes, including 2 wins, certainly is going to help him going into Sonoma for the championship.
Corn on the race factory as well, along with Braylon Underwood. So they put a couple of those drivers in the top 5. David, let's go to Micro Rock. And the driver we watched should be so impressive in Tucson, kept it rolling. Hodge remains dominant in Micro.
Yeah, certainly kept it going in Phoenix with another perfect weekend in the Micro Rock division. Again, on Saturday, Micro Rock ran all day long with the mini category, and Hodge was just super quick all day long. I'm trying to find out where he finished overall. My internet's kind of bogging right now. Yeah. So Hodge was able to drive away to a 27-second margin of victory, finishing 8th overall in the race group, with Luca Papascu in the 2nd position ahead of Julian Sanchez to round out the podium. Paxton Romero on the comp cart, and then Cam Becker joined in for their first starts at the challenge, finishing 4th and 5th.
Another full day sweep for Kason Hodge. Wins the qualifying pole, wins the pre-final, wins the main event, this time 16.4 seconds, as Julian Sanchez taking second, David, on Sunday.
Yeah, Sanchez was actually second in Saturday until he was racing with some of the mini drivers, and a little bit of contact dropped him down the order, so that dropped him to 3rd on Saturday. Was able to hold off Papascu for the 2nd spot on Sunday, and they actually ran the micros by themselves in the main event on Sunday, so we're able to give them
as a separate race, or did they split start them?
No, as a separate race.
Oh, okay, copy. Good.
Yep. So just the main event ran the pre-final with the mini class, and then ran a main event solo with just those 5 drivers.
Not bad. So Hodge, Sanchez, Papascu, Becker, and Romero was the podium, the top 5 drivers in that particular category. All right, folks, one last break, and when we get back, we'll wrap things up. David will have a look at the Constructors' Championship, and we'll let you know where we're going to be over the month of March. Stay tuned. We'll cap off this edition of the Debrief after this break. Motor mounts are critical to producing 100% of the power your engine has to get you on the podium each and every time. Odenthal Racing Products provide the best motor mounts in the karting market today. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience, providing products with unmatched quality and value for the karting market. Our newest product is the Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines, available in 0, 5, and 8 degree angles, providing a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a medium with fins underneath to help dissipate heat off the engine. Our 4-cycle EZ set is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, ORP wedge clamps get the job done, featuring a number of updates to its design for a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28 mil to 32 mil in both standard and Euro sizes. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, made in the USA. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find the North American dealer near you, head to BriggsRacing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? Welcome back as we cap off episode 92, closing on that magic number 100. Episode 92 of the EKN Debrief. David Cole giving us his full race report from this past weekend's Challenge of the Americas events in Phoenix, Arizona, rounds 3 and 4 of the 2022 Challenge. David, let's wrap things up. What do you got for me here to cap it all off?
Well, let's look at the 4-win club. We got Ian Kunchez, Derek Wang, Tristan Young, and Kason Hodge as the only drivers right now to win 4 main events in the 4 rounds that we've had there. So you can essentially say that maybe those championships are pretty much decided. Again, the way the championships unfold, there's still a lot of racing to be done in Sonoma, but certainly puts them in the top running for the titles when we get to Sonoma. The weekend kind of ended with a little bit of a sour note. We had an incident in the final main event of the day and of the weekend in the senior 100cc category. It was looking for his name, Colin Oh man, how do I say his last name? I'm sorry. Spilger. Colin Spilger was involved in an incident in turn 11. Again, driver going for a last lap pass in one of the most racing corners that we saw all weekend long. Just a little bit of contact that sent him up and over pretty hard. It was transported, so this was unfortunately the first time in 2 years that we've had a driver transported at the Challenge in the Americas. Thankfully, went home later that night. A couple of cracked ribs and some bumps and bruises, but Colin should be able to be good in a couple of weeks. So the best to him. And unfortunately, it was a kind of a bad way to end the what was pretty much a good weekend with no other really major incidents at the PKRA facility.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a point of pride, right, for the Challenge of the Americas in the United States, when there really has been pretty clean racing over the last couple of years. And again, this wasn't like it was crazy. It was a driver making a move on the last lap of a race. And you talked about the fact that Daytona, that bank right-hander, it's a tough corner, man. You dive it in there and get over top of somebody. We've seen a lot of accidents happen there going off track.
Oh,
so
turn 11, actually, it was the left-hander. No, left-hander. So second to last corner. Sorry.
Really? Wow,
yeah.
That does surprise me. Then that's even more odd that something would happen there. Although it is an opening to pass for sure. So David, that caps things off. What are we thinking? What's Sonoma going to bring us in terms of action, battling? Any word of anybody potentially coming out of the woodwork who hasn't raced with us before or hasn't raced with the Challenge this year?
Yeah, no, I don't know of that. It's just, my question is, what will Sonoma bring? Are we going to get more locals to come and compete? I really hope so. And the other question is who's actually going to be there? I'm hearing that Hunter Pickett, who is leading the championship in Rock Shifter, is not going to be in Sonoma yet. It's his home racetrack.
Wow.
But again, because of the way the schedule is all working out, some drivers are picking and choosing where they're racing. So that's going to be an impact in that category. We had, an Ashton Woon. Is he going to be in Sonoma despite the disqualification at Phoenix? So a lot of kind of unknowns as we head into Sonoma. We know it's going to be a great, racetrack to watch some great racing. That junior 100cc category is going to be awesome. Masters 100cc is going to be awesome as well too. Again, it's just a matter of what are we going to get when we get to Sonoma? Hopefully, no rain too.
Yeah, let's just say sun, no rain.
Exactly.
Right, so David, run us through the Constructors Championship based on your notes here. 9 brands, splitting the 20 wins.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty awesome number to see. Comcart led the way with 6 victories, obviously 2 with Ian Kunchez and 2 with Oliver Hodgson, and then also 2 with Carson Bowers in the Senior Rock division. EOS picking up 3. Derek Wang took 2 of those, along with GFC picking up 2, those in the Rock Shifter category. Tony Kart added 2, along with Esprit and VME Kart. CRG, Parolin, and Race Factory all taking home 1 victory.
All right, folks, let's wrap things up here now. The EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. We'll have a look at where we're going to be here in the month of March in this year. This episode's calendar presented by OTK USA. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the United States, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. From the legendary Tony Kart brand to the race-winning Cosmic, Esprit, Red Speed, and EOS chassis, and now the new Gallard and Lando Norris brands, OTK quality is second to none. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK dealer near you, whether it's Tony Kart, Cosmic, Esprit, Red Speed, EOS, Gallard, or LN Kart, visit OTKUSA.com. All right, Dave, let's wrap things up here. A couple of events on the docket here for the month of March. Thankfully, I'm home for 3 weekends, which is awesome. But I'll tell you, this coming weekend, no doubt about it, I'll be tuned in to find out what happens as you will be heading to the Orlando Kart Center back to Florida for one more shot for 2022 for you. The United States Pro Kart Series kicking off what should be an absolutely record-setting year.
Yeah, my first trip to the Orlando Kart Center. I don't believe you've ever been there.
I've never been there either. No,
so I get something on you. That's awesome. I like that.
You do.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how they pack in the over 300 entries that are going to be competing at the Orlando Kart Center. Thankfully, it's a quick drive over from the airport, so the travel side of things will and easy, hopefully, depending on the security through Orlando Monday morning. That'll be
have fun with that.
Exactly. It'll prepare me for my trip next month, so that'll be fun. Yeah, so looking forward to getting back. USPKS for its 10th season. Crazy to think how fast that's gone.
Yeah, agreed. Right. It's and again, 10 seasons. Let me just throw this out there, because we've been talking a lot about this, right? When I got into the sport with Shifter Kart Illustrated, I know this is a bit of an aside, a little bit of a tangent, but my first 10 years of when I had the magazine, there was like 3 or 4 different series, right? SCUSA had the Pro Tour for 4 or 5 years. Then Stars of Karting came in for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then CKI picked up with the Stars of Karting battle, and there was all these different series, and then of course SCUSA Tom Kutcher started the Pro Kart Challenge. SCUSA, it just was crazy. You look at the stability that we have had over the sport. This is just a tangent, but Challenge of the Americas, what we just talked about, 15 years. We're now on the Pro Tour, SCUSA Pro Tour, 12 years on the Pro Tour and 10 years on the USPKS. When people talk about the fact that maybe karting isn't really strong right now, I have to disagree with them, because over the last decade and a half that I've been doing this, we've never been in a place with so much stability in terms of series and what happens and the sport being strong. But man, 10 years for the USPKS. Kudos to Mark Coates and his whole crew.
Well, not only stability, but I think opportunity. There's so much racing and so many places to go karting.
Yeah.
I think, it's I have no idea how people can think that the sport is not good. We're in a good spot. Yeah, there's some controversy. There's this and some disagreements and some people choose to go one way while others choose to go another. You're always going to have that, no matter what business you're in, because again, karting is still a business, but it's also a hobby and something that people do for fun. And so that's the great thing about our sport, is you have the opportunity to do what you want when you want, but there's no limit to how much racing you can do, aside from your pocketbook. Really, that's what it boils down to. I mean, that's awesome. It is a little bit draining. It can be, a lot of work, but it's fun work. I mean, would you rather do anything else? Probably not.
Nope. All right. So again, as we said, David, March the 4th, 5th, and 6th, the US PKS opener. David will have his full EKN Trackside Live program there. And then at the end of the month, giddy up. David and I will be back together again. We'll be able to jump back into the program we just talked about here today. The final rounds of the Challenge of the Americas at Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California, March 25th, 26th, 27th. I'll be back on the microphone. I know you had a chance to see Tim Chapman. Chappie was trackside. I listened to a bunch of the racing when I could from St. Petersburg. But yeah, you and I are back, David, March 25th, 26th, flying into San Francisco, Sonoma Raceway for the finale of this year's challenge.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a karting season until we get to Sonoma, because by then, we got a couple of races under our belts. We're crowning some of the first champions on the year.
Yeah.
And again, Sonoma, great place to go and watch racing and see racing and call racing and cover racing and also eat in Sonoma as well, too.
Angelo's. Angelo's.
I got to buy some salsa and bring it home this time.
I'm going to do the same thing. I was thinking that, actually. Yeah, I got to bring some salsa home with me. All right, folks, there you go. That's it. We're done. Episode 92 of the EKN Debrief. Again, Tuesday, March the 1st, David Cole, who was trackside at the Phoenix Kart Racing Association facility in Phoenix, rocking things out there for the Challenge of the Americas. Great coverage all weekend long, and we'll do the same thing when we get to Sonoma at the end of March. We do want to thank you for joining in on this edition of the Debrief. And again, on behalf of everyone from the Challenge of the Americas, Andy Saisman and his crew, and of course, David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.